The server was old, crusty, like an unwashed dishcloth left too long in a stale sink. But sometimes those are the ones that hold the most surprises. Not that Ben expected much. His usual haunt was the shady underbelly of the net, the kind of place where privacy was a myth and anonymity a joke. He was a collector of sorts, an archivist of the digital underclass, gathering data scraps, leaked files, forgotten logins and passwords. He dealt in the currency of digital flotsam, trading it all on a hidden forum, a marketplace for the dispossessed. Tonight's haul was unremarkable. A handful of expired credit card numbers, a list of compromised passwords from a defunct social media site, and this, a strangely named file that had slipped through the cracks of a hacked corporate server. It was labeled simply Playlist MP3. He downloaded it to a spare drive, a precautionary measure as much as anything. He didn't intend to open it. There were plenty of ways to ruin a system, and corrupted audio files were among the most insidious. Still, he had a morbid curiosity. What if it was a Trojan? If it was a virus, it wouldn't be the first time he'd played digital Russian roulette. Curiosity got the better of him. He double-clicked. A music player he rarely used came up, the program's interface archaic by today's standards. It was a relic from a time when software was functional, but not necessarily pretty. The file was protected, encrypted, and the music player wasn't equipped to handle it. Ben put it on a list with the other files he planned to ignore, intending to move on to his next find. But as he did, the playlist started to play. He didn't realize it at first. The music player was supposed to skip to the next track, but instead, silence. Then a distorted voice cut through the static, a woman's voice whispering something he couldn't quite make out. He clicked on the file again, hoping to adjust the volume, but it only played the distorted whisper. Was it a recording? Had someone locked him onto a frequency he wasn't supposed to hear? He tried headphones, switched to speakers, fiddled with the equalizer. Then he heard it, a snippet of a conversation in an unknown language, followed by what sounded like a scream. He listened intently. The music player still showed the same blank waveform as before. The whispered voices continued, growing louder, overlapping, becoming cacophonous. It was a nightmare given form. The sound itself wasn't horrific, but the unnatural silence between the whispers, the sense that he was intruding on something he wasn't supposed to hear. That was the horror of it. As the whispers crescendoed, the room filled with a heavy static. The air grew thick, charged with an energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The static enveloped him, and the last thing he remembered was a searing pain in his head, as if someone had driven a nail through his skull. He woke up on the floor, his eyes stinging, the taste of blood in his mouth. The room was spinning. He crawled back to his chair, heart pounding, and tried to turn on the lights. As they flickered on, he saw it. On his monitor, the music player was still on, the playlist finished, but the whispering voices remained. It was as if the song had looped endlessly, except now the voices were coming from inside his head. He ripped the headphones off, but the voices continued. They were in his head, yet they sounded like they were everywhere, all around him. Panic clawed at his throat. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. He slumped forward, burying his face in his arms. The voices continued. They taunted him, whispered threats in a language he didn't understand, but somehow he knew the meaning of their words. "You shouldn't have listened," they hissed. "Now you will pay the price." The screen flickered, displaying a single line of text. Playlist 1 of 7. He forced himself to look up. The music player was gone. In its place was another, the second track already highlighted. And as he watched, horrified, the whispers in his head grew louder, promising torment, promising pain. And then the second song began to play. Ben had stumbled onto something insidious, a digital plague carried on a corrupted audio file. A virus that bypassed his defenses, infecting his mind, turning his ears into a portal to a sonic hell. He had opened a door to a nightmare he might never escape. The playlist had just begun. Thanks for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe for more content.